So we go from the cross in the middle of the road to climatic foundations on day number 3 of the week. Let's talk about it.
Attention, star seeds. Attention, light workers. Attention, root workers. Attention, conjure doctors. Attention, nature-based faith practitioners. Attention, spiritualists. Attention, diviners. Attention, prophets. Attention, the spiritually eclectic. Attention for those seeking the road less traveled. This is time-sensitive cosmic information, so you might want to catch this. This is time-sensitive cosmic information that you can use in your prayers, manifestations, and other spirit works. Beam up now via this video or the audio link in this video's description box to get this on-the-fly esoteric wisdom. Beaming up now.
Ashe emojibatu Olodumare Bobo Egungun Ara Orun Bobo Orisha for another day to bask in the goodness of Onile's sacred earth. Every day given is very special, and here are a few details, cosmic details, pertaining to how. I'm iiiYansaje Muse, and this is your early rising or your evening settling mystic forecast.
Love and light star seeds. Ekule if you're catching this in the evening time. Ekaro if you're catching this in the early morning's rise. As always, I am iiiYansaje Muse, the Black Madonna of the airwaves, bringing you the music, the mystics, and the mojo on your one woman and the divine created radio station 222.9 the Mothership. And we are winding down your Mars ruled Ogun venerated Tools Day, December 10th, 2024, and the numerology of today lines up on a 1, 2, 3, 12, 3. 3 is sacred to SU, and that's how you ended up with the cross in the middle of the road. Crossroad, get my drift? Oh yeah. And this is all going down on your 11th Tools Day of Autumn Equinox and the third one of Sagittarius season. And tonight we got fire on the sun and fire on the moon, with it waxing tonight in the first house of Aries. So we got some new beginnings kind of energy. So go ahead and let those old things go. Shake it off, baby, and take action. Because Aries is the house of action and the moon is waxing, and that's an increasing moon. So you want to increase the taking action. Just make sure you take those actions on the right side of Issue's crossroad. Ashe? All right. So if you're listening to this at the 9 o'clock hour, you got 2 hours and some change to work it all out before the clock strikes 12. And Ogun passes that time clock to his wife, Oya, and we're at the week's climax, Wednesday, nailed down on a 4 of new foundations. Let's go ahead on and get into it so that my 6 a.m. listeners aren't talking too much about yesterday. I'm iiiYansaje Muse, and this is your 9 p.m. Mystic Forecast on Radio for the Road Less Traveled, 222.9 The Mothership. Beam up.
Did you enjoy the work and greenery wisdom of the Paradopotis? Well, I hope you did, because now it's time to take to the skies on my Wednesdaily blog, the Malbec Planetarium. That's www.poeticallymuse.org/Malbec Planetarium. That's POETICALLYMUSED.org/MALBECPLANETARIUM. Bet you won't join me there tomorrow to learn a few secrets of the quasars. Ashe.
And we are back. So it's Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, and the day is vibing on a 13-4. And that's the number of new foundations in some traditions. For is sacred to Shango, and others it is sacred to the Orisha or Lokun. So that's deep wealth and fire, all in Oya's whirlwinds. And this is all going down on your 11th Wednesday of autumn equinox and the third one of Sagittarius season, and the moon has shifted into the house of Taurus. And the house of Taurus is all about abundance. So set those foundations of abundance in love and in material. Because being rich isn't a bad thing. It's just being in love with riches is a bad thing. So you don't have to be broke to be divine. We pouring that Kool-Aid out for the Aquarian age. You better know it. Ashe. You know, I'm getting some energy on this day. With climatic points and new foundations, you can expect some really, really, really good news, especially those of you chosen one star seeds, time travelers, eclectives that have been long suffering at the hands of the 3D world. Because that's right hand in hand with Uranus's retrograde in Taurus, and that's bringing back all that divine abundance. And all you have to do is keep yourself aligned with the vibration. Ashe. Today is the last day of the second decan of Sag season. So if you were born between December 2nd and December 11th, you are a Sagittarius, but you are actually half Aries. I am loving it. So those are those horsemen that have got a little bit more oomph in that forward drive and flinging all those bows and arrows everywhere. We are in the harvest of the granary in the 12 figures of African spirituality zodiac system. And in the Kemetic way of the stars, we are still in the season of Osiris. Ashe. If December 11th is your solar return, then happy solar return. May the ancestors, Olodumare and Orishas, bring in all saints of your respective faith, because everybody isn't living that Orisha life. So if this is you, happy solar return, then may the ancestors, Olodumare, Orishas, and all saints of your respective faith bless you with many, many more. Bless you with many, many more, filled with Baba Ire. And Baba Ire just means many blessings. Ashe. But here's a little bit of zodiac dry snitching for you. If you were born on December 11th, you speak and act hastily, but you mean well. Uh-oh. You might want to align that or so you can think those decisions through. You are a great reader and a good and entertaining talker. Bright, willing, witty, and vivacious, you generally like to be the life of the party. There's some fiery Sagittarius energy for you, especially born on that double number, 11. hmm You love luxuries and you love pleasant surroundings, and you are sensitive to your environment. Your love is constant and demonstrative. Okay. All right. I like it. All right, other 11 zodiac houses. Haterade is not alkaline. So make sure you are showing all the Sagittarius babies in your life some love as they turn up in their season. Because you know good and darn well that when your zodiac season rolls around, you're going to want the world to turn up with you. And you should. So do yourself a blessing, child, and get that in ahead of time so that when your zodiac season rolls around, the world will turn up with you. And if you have friends in all 12 zodiac houses, then life becomes a party. Ashe. And while you're at it, take a minute to learn about the Sagittarius energy that lives in you. That's right. Break out that natal chart and study yourself. And when you do that, you take a look at all the placements of House 9, Jupiter, and the placements of Sagittarius to learn all about that archer in you. And if you need some help understanding that, then dial the number on the screen, 314-200-0368. Or you can book readings through the links that are in my profile. I am iiiYansaje Muse, and this is your 9 p.m. or 6 a.m. daily or nightly cosmic weather forecast on radio for the road less traveled. 222.9, the Mothership. Beam up. I'll be right back with your planetary retrograde report.
Wednesdays, Mercury, Uranus, purples, Iba Oya, Iba Nanaburuku, maroons, exotic voices of the mothers. Welcome to Wednesdays on the Mothership. 222.9. Beam up.
And we are back. So we still got planet Chiron in retrograde, and that's a planet that hits all 12 houses in equal measure. And I like the story of the planet Chiron. That little booger was a comet before it was named as a planet in the 70s. And astrologically, it represents the wounded healer, or the part of us that we spend our entire lives healing from. Okay? And in order to ascend, you have to transmute the energies of your deepest wounds into positivity. And this brought some serious heat on all of our backsides because it came in fire. Fixed Fire of Leo from July 26th and will be coming out on the Kwanzaa day of Ujamaa on December 29th. All right? Okay. And what this does is it brings back up all your old wounds that it seems like you're moving forward, but it's like your past just keeps kind of haunting you. That's just one of the effects of Chiron in retrograde. And when it is in retrograde, then you want to take a look at those deep wounds because it shows you how far you've healed, what you've learned from your scars, how well you've transmuted them, how you're using your pain to heal others, and layers of, your wounds that you still have to heal. Because healing is not linear, it's zigzag like Shango's lightning bolt, and it's also layered. So that's just kind of like a universal progress tracker there, if you will. All right, you also got Uranus in retrograde. That went in on September 1st. And in Orisha energy, Uranus deals with Oya energy, Iya me, and that deals with shake up stabilities, dealing with putting your action behind your faith, if that makes sense. Okay. And this is actually a really good retrograde because it comes in the house of Taurus. And Taurus is the house of love and abundance. And so if you've been living in alignment with your divinity, your divine bag is well on the way. So you have to stay in that higher vibration. You owe it to yourself. And that's probably what Chiron's retrograde comes to bring about, hand in hand with Uranus's retrograde, if that makes sense. Because you have to transmute those wounds so that you can be in the vibration that you need to be in order to manifest your true divine abundance. Ashe. And we also have Jupiter in retrograde. Oh, wait, Uranus retrograde. That hits you Aquarius babies harder than the other 11 houses because that's one of two of your ruling planets. Now we can move forward to Jupiter. Jupiter is in retrograde, and Jupiter is in retrograde from October 9th, and we're coming out of that on February 4th of 2025. And this one's a little tricky because this Jupiter's retrograde is in the third house of Gemini, which is the house of duality. And duality deals with you know, dealing with those things on the inside, hitting on Chiron's retrograde as well. So, with Jupiter in retrograde in Gemini, it's making you reassess yourself because with all of the new life and abundance and all these things that we're putting so much energy into manifesting, you also have to put yourself in the energetic alignment. So that's going to call for you to reassess your habits. That's going to call you to kind of contract before you can expand because you have to prepare yourself for the life that you're manifesting. On the other side of that duality, Jupiter's retrograde contracts in past due karma. I'll leave that at that. And well, we got two more planets. We're still in the third and final retrograde of. Wait, hold on, I didn't finish with Jupiter. In Orisha energy, Jupiter energy deals with the energy of Shango, expansion, because what does fire do? Shango represents fire. Fire is heat. Heat does what? Expand. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. In the zodiac houses, Jupiter hits Sagittarius's and Pisces harder than the other 10 houses because for Sagittarius, this is your ruling planet. Pisces, this is one of two of your ruling planets. Ashe. Now we can move forward to Mercury. We are in the last 4 or 5 days of Mercury's retrograde in Sagittarius, and this deals with Eshu energy, as Mercury is the planet of communication. Eshu is the Orisha of communication. And you know, Rome's name for Eshu is Mercury, as Greeks is Hermes. But you know, those of us that live that Orisha life, we know we're talking about Eshu. And this is dealing with you, Gemini and Virgo babies, harder than the other 10 houses because this is your ruling planet. But we'll be coming out on December 15th after going in on November 26th. And Mercury retrograde is the most common of retrogrades that everyone knows about. So, with that in mind, this brings back estranged people that you haven't seen in a while, heard from in a while, old colleagues, old lovers, estranged family members, and they all come back for one of three reasons. One, the really toxic ones, the narcissistic hoovers and all of those kinds of things, they come back as a pop quiz from the universe to see if you need to learn that lesson of self-love and setting boundaries again. So those are typically the people you do not want to entertain twice, because when we allow people to mistreat us, we unknowingly are telling the universe, this is what I want. And if it isn't, don't open that door. Reason number two is that estranged people may return to your life just long enough to settle things, where, like, maybe someone owes you an apology, maybe there's some clarity that needs to be made. You get my drift. But that doesn't necessarily mean that person has to come back into your life. Sometimes you can forgive through a conversation where both parties can part ways peacefully. There's another reason, but ways still part. The third reason is because people are meant to come back into your life because both of you have grown to a space where you're now an energetic match. And in doing that, you two can be a part of each other's lives again. So there are three reasons why people come back into your life during Mercury retrograde. And you can expect travel delays, miscommunications, and hiccups in technology. Not a good time to start new contracts or relationships. And all of these reasons is for Mercury retrograde to bring you the space that you need to relax and reflect. Ashe. Last but not least, 4 days ago, we just got into Ogun's retrograde, and that's Mars going in on December 6th in my house. Now, why Mars got to bust a moonwalk in my house? Leo. And we'll be coming out on February 24th in the fourth house of Cancer. And it's kind of like the fire that's giving into the water. And I've been getting a lot of fire and water energy in my readings and in my visions and things lately. But this is a serious return of karmic justice. This is a season for bringing about clarity. And you kind of want to take a place of stillness over too much action. Okay? You want to rest your masculine traits for a minute and allow yourself to be, how do I put it? Receptive. Because receptivity is more of the feminine essence. So surrendering to your feminine does not necessarily mean that you're soft. It just means that you're receiving as opposed to driving forward. And that's no stab at the masculine energy. It's just that, as Ecclesiastes says, there's a time for all things. So Mars retrograde kind of brings you a space to rest and reflect, flow instead of drive. Don't work against the grain. You'll make things a lot harder for yourself. Mars retrograde does affect Aries babies and Pluto Scorpio babies more than it will the other 10 houses. So there's my planetary retrograde report. You can always break out your natal chart and study your placements of the zodiac houses in your natal chart. So that way, when you can see where they are in your chart, you can get a more personalized feel for what they mean. And if you need some help understanding that, then by all means, dial the number on the screen. I'll be right back with your Wednesday collective read for the star seeds. I'm iiiYansaje Muse, and this is radio for the road less traveled. 222.9 the Mothership. Beam up.
Before sight. Before sight of shells there were stanzas, stanzas of my soliloquies. Before sight of wisdom, before sight of worship, there was only my written word, Afoshe. Before sight of divination, before sight of Dafa, there were diaries, diaries in dozens. Before sight of revelation, before sight of reason, there were only my rhapsodomancies of rhyme, rearranged to rhythms of my lipstick-kissed alchemy, alchemies of my depths, my valleys, my mountains, my visions, my empathies, my testimonies, my joys, my sorrows, my love. Before sight of awakening, before sight of airwaves, before sight of anointing, there were archives of my allegories. Before sight of clarity, before sight of conversion and clergy call, there were collections of my ink prints. Before sight of prophecy, before sight of priestesshood, there was poetry, poetries that bear my fruit. There was me.
And we are back. So if you're hearing this over the Mothership's airwaves, or you're seeing this on the podcast video, then this is your message. And my Wednesday collective reads are for the star seeds, for the the time travelers, the black sheep. You get my drift. And here we have the hologram. What changes do you need to bring alignment with your wholeness? That means that you may be focused on some parts of your reality that aren't exactly real. You may be focusing too much energy on what others intended for you as opposed to what the universe did. What I mean by did is, what does the universe intend for you? And come into your wholeness fully by stepping out of everything you were given as an illusion. And if you are a true starseed, diviner, time traveler, you get my drift. then you've been given a lot of holograms in life, and I know you just heard that pop. So, something you had some kind of eureka moment where you realized that you've lived a huge part of your life in an illusion that others tried to create for you. And now it's time to step into who you've always been. With the whole star glyph showing up at the end, this is card 20 of the major arcane of this deck, which means the closing of an old cycle. And this is where you come into union and wholeness with all of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you transform it into the light, Christ consciousness, language of ecstasy and limitless bliss, because that's what you've always been. And perhaps that's the reason why so much was said and done to put out your light. But you kept it on, though. And underneath the bottom of the deck, we have the resolution of duality. Now, this card is always showing up in my forecast readings, which means that you've got some things to resolve when it comes to your dualities of who you are versus who you were projected to be. And it's time for you to release everything connected to the false reality of yourself. And that's the holograms. And that's also bringing into union your shadow self versus your light self. Notice with this card, you have the two triangles facing each other in the shadow with the light behind. And here, you have the single triangle with the moon behind. So, this is about bringing about inner balance so that you can step into your next space. And then underneath, we have another Starglyph card, which is the oak. I went ahead and went one more card in so that we can do four cards in alignment with the daily numerology of a four. And so, with the oak Starglyph card, this is you being called. This is card 10. So card 10 chops card 20 in half. So this speaks to a halfway point in your spiritual growth where you had to experience a breakthrough, a new beginning, and you will be coming into your divine relationships and your divine partnerships. And this is why you are being called to make resolutions with your duality and to recognize and transmute your holograms. That way, you can stop wasting your precious life on vibrations in which you don't belong. You were born to fly higher. Allow yourself to own your place, own your task, own your assignment, and most of all, own your energy. You've paid your entire life for it. Ashe. There's my general message. Should you need a personal read, then dial the number on the screen or see the description box of this video to book your session. I'm iiiYansaje Muse, and this is your 9 p.m. or 6 a.m. cosmic weather forecast on radio for the road less traveled, 222.9. Beam up. Don't make me land a tornado where I could have been a cool breeze. Oya. The Uranus collection, brought to you by the Mothership Mystic Boutique. All proceeds go to 222.9, the Mothership Internet Radio for the road less traveled. Beam up. Thank you for joining me for this forecast. I certainly hope that you gain some things that will help you have a divinely Oya Goddess blessed Wednesday. If you're listening at the 9 o'clock hour, then tune in or stay tuned for my Tuesdayly night vision of what love looks like, brought to you by the Smooth Groove Fathers of Song. If you are listening at the 6 a.m. hour, then stay tuned for the rising Bimbe to Oya before we get to the exotic mothers of song to jam all day long. And remember, the sky is big enough for us all to be stars. And in the words of George Clinton, Free your mind and your ass will follow. This is 222.9 The Mothership, internet radio for the road less traveled. Beam up.
Every day is special. Why not find out mystically how? This is the forecast on your Mystic Music Haven on the airwaves, 222.9